How's it going, everybody? This is Dave LeClaire with MakeUseOf.com, and today we are going to take a look at the best games available on Xbox Game Pass. No matter what genre you want to play, there are games on Game Pass that will suit your taste. You want to shoot some stuff? You got shooters. You want to drive a car? Drive a damn car. We don't care. So without further delay, let's take a look at the best games that you can play right now on Xbox Game Pass with your single subscription. Alright, so first we're going to kick it off with games that involve kicking and punching and beating the heck out of each other. We're going to talk about fighting games and beat-em-ups. And we're going to limit it to 2 games from each genre, so we're going to pick 2 of the many fantastic fighting games and beat-em-ups from Game Pass and talk about them today. First of all, if you want a straight-ahead fighting game, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is the one to go with on Game Pass. It is your tag team fighting game where you switch in and out between different Marvel characters and Capcom characters. All the ones most of the characters you love are there, and it is a heck of a game. Seriously, if you want a fighting game and you signed up for Game Pass, which I assume you did, or at least are thinking of it, because why else would you be watching this video, this is the one to play. If you want to go old school a little bit more, you want to slow things down a little bit, you can actually play Streets of Rage 4 on Xbox Game Pass, which is a fantastic old school beat 'em up, side scroller, all the good stuff you remember from back in the day, now on Xbox Game Pass included in your subscription. So if that's more your speed and you're not into the crazy frantic fighting style of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and you want something that will, still let you beat the heck out of people but without all the craziness, Streets of Rage 4 is probably the game for you. Alright, so if you're a fan of platformer games, there are tons of those on Game Pass, because a lot of the games on Game Pass, there are plenty of AAAs, but there's a lot of indies, and a lot of indie games, they tend to go with platformers. And one of the best ones is Touhou Luna Nights. This is your Metroidvania-style platformer that's going to kind of kick your butt a little bit as you play through it, but it's very rewarding. You're going to be backtracking, exploring while doing cool jumps, fighting stuff. It's an awesome game. If you are new to the series, because there's quite a few of them, you can jump right into this one without having played any of the other ones, and you won't have any problems. So definitely give it a shot. It's a fantastic platformer with Metroidvania elements that you will love. If you prefer your platformers to come with some more roguelike elements, then Goner Blueberry Edition is probably the game for you. Now, this is a 2D platformer that will make you want to cry because it is super challenging, but as such, it is extremely rewarding. So if you make it through the challenges the game throws at you, you're going to find that you really feel like you earned it. It's not just, well, I beat this game because, I went through the story and I followed the progression. No, if you beat this game, you are going to feel very proud. Just be prepared, because it's not an easy game, but it is a ton of fun, and it is one of the games that actually makes Game Pass worth signing up for. The games we talked about so far still aren't for you? Well, what about some driving games? If you like making cars go vroom vroom around tracks or around roads or whatever at a very high rate of speed, Game Pass has you covered, because there are some really solid driving games available on the service. And here are 2 of the best ones. First, there is Hot Shot Racing. Hot Shot is a very arcadey style racing game, so it's not going to be your realistic game like a Forza or any of those. Gran Turismo, which obviously wouldn't be on Game Pass because you're never going to see a Gran Turismo game on an Xbox platform. If you want something that's kind of fun and frantic and a little bit crazy, you can definitely do well with Hot Shot Racing. It has a very cool art style, looks great, and again, it's part of your subscription, so you'd be crazy not to play it. However, if you do prefer a little more realistic racing experience, Dirt Rally 2.0 is available on Game Pass, and it is a killer game. I mean, if you like that gritty, down-to-earth, real racing type of feel, and you want it to be in a rally form, not like on roads like Forza, Dirt Rally 2.0 is awesome. You're going to love it. So if you're a big fan of horror, Game Pass also has some games available in that genre. In fact, it has one of the biggest recent games in that genre, and that is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. This is kind of a return to form for the Resident Evil games. It takes everything that we loved about the old school Resident Evil games, combined with the upgraded mechanics and gameplay from games like Resident Evil 4, and it blends all those elements into a genuinely terrifying game that will leave you feeling all sorts of things as you make your way through it. It has that, you're trapped in a house kind of feel from the original Resident Evil game, but it's a little bit more expansive and you're constantly being chased like you were in Resident Evil 3. I mean, it takes all the best stuff from the various Resident Evil games, smushes them together, and creates a game that is super, super awesome. Of course, that's not the only big horror game available on Game Pass. There's also Dead by Daylight Special Edition, which is another terrifying game, not quite the slow plotting survival horror style game of Resident Evil, but it's still scary enough in its own way, and it's also a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something that's a little faster, a little bit more aggressively in your face, you might like the Dead by Daylight games a little bit more than Resident Evil, though you really can't go wrong with either of them. And in fact, I'm going to recommend you play both of them because you have a Game Pass subscription. There's no reason not to. So if you like your games to be a little bit happier, a little slower, there's a lot of strategy and RPG types of games available on Game Pass, and these are two of the best. First of all, Astroneer. This is the kind of game that you can spend hundreds of hours on just getting lost in the world, building your space station, building all your stuff, linking everything together. Just it's one of those Minecraft-y sort of games where you can just get in there and just sink your teeth into it and just spend forever playing it. If you're looking for the kind of game that really makes you see the value of Game Pass because you can spend so much time playing it, Astroneer is one for you. Another solid RPG that's available on Game Pass is called Wizard of Legend. It's an interesting little roguelike game that features all the procedurally generated dungeons that you would expect from a game in the genre, and it has its own interesting twists that make it worth a second look. There's tons of loot and artifacts and things to collect to make your character stronger. It has all the key aspects that you want to see in a roguelike. All right, I get it. You're playing on Xbox. You probably want to shoot stuff. Maybe Halo is what brought you to the Xbox platform in the first place. Well, don't worry, because there are some really solid shooters available on Game Pass. They're not necessarily your traditional Call of Duty or Halo-style shooters, though those are there too, but that's boring. We don't want to talk about those. Let's talk about the shooters that are a little bit different. So the first one we're going to talk about is Xeno Crisis. It's a top-down shooter that is quite difficult and is going to definitely beat you up a little bit as you make your way through it. It's an arena-style shooter, so you're moving from level to level, trying to defeat waves of different alien attackers with a huge arsenal of ridiculous firepower. It has all that kind of stuff that you remember from those old-school type of games, and it's a lot of fun. The next game we're going to talk about is called My Friend Pedro, and this is definitely a little bit out there in terms of shooters, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with a game that decides to break the mold and do things in its own way. This is a little bit of a bullet hell sort of shooter where you're going through levels and there's all kinds of craziness happen around you while you're running through the level as fast as you can while trying not to get taken out. It's got a lot of style about it. There's a lot of set pieces and cool animations that really make it look great and make it stand out from the crowd. It's very, very violent, but in a tasteful way, let's say. So if you're looking for something that sounds like something that's up your alley, definitely check out My Friend Pedro. It is available as part of your Game Pass subscription, and it is really, really good. All right, that is it. That is our look at Game Pass for today. Thank you very much for watching this video. This is Dave LeClaire with MakeUseOf.com. Hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully these are games that maybe were not on your radar, but now you want to play. Maybe they were on your radar, but you weren't sure if they were worth playing, and now you've heard me tell you they're worth playing, and hopefully that persuades you to go give them a shot. If you don't have a Game Pass subscription, definitely sign up for it as long as you have the platforms to play it on, Xbox and PC, because it is a very, very solid deal in terms of getting a bunch of games for a very low price each month. It's kind of like the Netflix of video games that we've always wanted. Not quite, because it's not all the games, but it's a good chunk of them. So sign up for Game Pass, subscribe to Make Use of's YouTube channel, click that button down there. We will have lots of cool videos coming out as time goes on, whether you like video games or tech or hardware reviews, whatever you want. We're going to have it here on Make Use of's YouTube channel. Thank you very much, and we will see you guys in the next video.